Support WrestleTalk!
Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Sleepy News. I am a very tired Luke Owen. Have yourself a merry little super click party by subscribing, giving us a thumbs up, and leaving a comment down below to answer our question of the day. What was your match of the night from WrestleMania 35? We've got a packed show of news for you today, including an update on whether or not the finish of the main event was a botch, new details on All Elite Wrestling's TV deal in October, as well as details on the man who attacked Bret Hart at the Hall of Fame on Saturday night. Click the timestamps down below to jump to any of those news stories if doing that sort of thing takes your fancy. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who joined us for our live streams of NXT TakeOver New York, the Ring of Honor New Japan G1 Supercard, and last night's WrestleMania, as well as our WWE 2K19 playthroughs over at Screenstalker. It was so much fun to watch these shows with you beautiful members of the SWAF Nation. And the fun doesn't stop there, as Ollie Davis and myself will be doing live streams of both Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania tonight and tomorrow night, on top of the usual reviews, news, Wrestle Ramble episodes, and the Wrestle Ramble podcast that will be going up with bonus intros and outros where we read through listener correspondence, which is one of the top banging podcasts to listen to during Mania season. Not my words, Carol, the words of the Metro newspaper. But it would seem we're not the only people who are a bit sleepy following the 7.5-hour WrestleMania show. Along with reports from Brian Alvarez, who was saying people in the MetLife Center were leaving during the main event because they had to catch the last train home, adding that there were also thousands of fans in line for Uber rides in the pouring rain at 2 a.m., Skillet of Gorilla Position posted this video on Twitter, which shows some fans sleeping through Kurt Angle's farewell match against Baron Corbin. All your fault, Baron. And it would appear those in charge of the WrestleMania program were also a little bit sleepy, as they made quite the good brother gaffe. The WrestleMania program can often provide some decent laughs due to last-minute changes to the card or typo snafus, with the official program for last year's show hastily adding Rusev to the United States Championship match so much that they only managed to get his head into it. This year's program was no different, with WrestleMania attendee Nicole posting on Twitter that WWE mixed up Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson's names, something that Carl Anderson found highly amusing on Twitter. It's been heavily reported that unlike AJ Styles, Gallows and Andersons will be leaving WWE once their contracts expire, and possibly adding speculation to the rumor fire by posing with their former Bullet Club cohorts Tama Tonga and Bad Luck Fale ahead of Ring of Honor and New Japan's historic G1 Supercard at Madison Square Garden. Or will Gallows and Anderson be joining the Elite over at All Elite Wrestling, who recently had some new details emerge about their weekly TV show. Last week it was announced that legendary voice of wrestling Jim Ross had signed on to be the lead commentator for All Elite Wrestling, and will also be helping out backstage in a creative role. And on his Ross Report podcast, good old JR revealed when people hear what network we're gonna be on, they're gonna be doubly excited because it's a network we can all find, adding the weekly 2-hour live television show will premiere in October. Dave Meltzer has since added on Wrestling Observer Radio that the show will be getting a prime time position, reporting that we should be hearing details of this TV deal very soon, most likely ahead of Double or Nothing in May. Meltzer said on Observer Radio that AEW were very close to inking a deal with a network after negotiating between two major stations, as well as working on an international deal, with Meltzer saying if they get that one, it will be pretty significant. One of the key factors for the deal is the possibility of not only streaming the weekly show, but also the pay-per-views going forward, noting that both stations they're negotiating with have a dedicated streaming platform. Meltzer reported, I think they would want a deal where Double or Nothing was streamed on the service of the station they're going with. So when they announce the streaming service, at that point, you're going to pretty much narrow it down where the show is going to air. Meltzer also noted in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that AEW could have some interest in former Ring of Honor and WWE wrestler Tenille Dashwood, who announced last week she was now a free agent. And perhaps they could also have their eye on a former Impact World Champion who recently left the company. A few days before WrestleMania, Impact Wrestling held United We Stand in New York City, which featured the Lucha Brothers defeating Rob Van Dam and Sabu, Taya Valkyrie retain her Knockouts Championship, and Tessa Blanchard defeat Joey Ryan in a special intergender match. However, Ryan was actually a replacement for the show, with former Impact World Champion Eli Drake originally advertised to take on Blanchard. However, Drake posted on Twitter that he didn't agree with the match and refused to do it, saying, "I have amazing respect for Impact Wrestling and Tessa Blanchard and can see that she is likely the greatest female talent in wrestling today. Although that said, I will not participate in a one-on-one intergender match." And then, prior to United We Stand, Drake featured on the Wrestling Perspective podcast, where he said he could possibly leave the promotion, saying, "It's time to start thinking about what options I have. Should I stay or should I go? We will find out. There are so many options out there. How can I best boost my brand awareness and how can I put more money in my pocket? It's a matter of figuring out what's going to work best for me long term." And evidently that decision has been made for him, with Impact Wrestling announcing on their website that they have terminated their relationship with Eli Drake, with PW Insider reporting that Drake's comment on the Wrestling Perspective podcast, as well as his refusal to work that Tessa Blanchard match, led to his firing. Drake added on the Wrestling Perspective podcast that he's had friendly conversations with WWE, but says no offer has been made. One man who has decided to stay rather than go, however, is Rob Van Dam, with RVD telling Sporting News that he has signed a new deal with Impact Wrestling, which starts at the April 29th TV tapings in Toronto. He added the contract has a beginning and an end, but they can extend, so this is something to start us off. However, sadly, it wasn't Rob Van Dam and Sabu tearing it up with the Lucha Brothers that made headlines prior to last night's WrestleMania, with the news coming out from the WWE Hall of Fame of Bret Hart being attacked during his speech. Bret Hart was on stage alongside Natalya, being inducted as the Hart Foundation with the late Jim the Anvil Neidhart, when a member of the audience rushed the stage and tackled Hart to the ground. Meltzer reported that the security at the Barclays Center was ridiculous, noting that it was actually the wrestlers in attendance that stopped the man rather than the security guards. More details have since emerged about the attacker, who has been identified as Zachary Madsen from Nebraska, and he has since been charged with 2 counts of assault and trespassing. CBS Sports also reported that a member of the security team and Hart himself suffered minor injuries from the attack, saying Madsen punched Bret Hart before he was dragged off. Thankfully, Hart did not require any medical attention after he finished his speech. Online sleuthers have since discovered that Madsen is actually an amateur MMA fighter, who posted several negative tweets to Vince McMahon and Triple H ahead of the Hall of Fame because he was angry that women were main eventing WrestleMania this year, calling it a major setback for the human race in one tweet and saying Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair should be in the back where they belong in another. But before we talk about the finish to that main event, we've got to discuss a finish that WWE themselves spoiled. Last night at WrestleMania 35, Kofi Kingston completed his 11-year journey by capturing the WWE Championship from Daniel Bryan in a fantastic match. After the bout, there was a long celebration with Kofi's kids, and New Day members Xavier Woods and Big E revealed the old leather-strapped WWE Championship for Kofi, as well as new merchandise that promotes him as the champ, which would have been a really nice moment had WWE not telegraphed the finish by clearly putting the old championship belt on a plinth before the match, and certainly not by posting the new Kofi Kingston WWE Championship t-shirt on their website 30 minutes before the final bell rung. Several WWE fans found that if you typed New Day into the search bar on WWEshop.com, you got an image of their new merchandise, effectively giving away that Kofi Kingston was walking away the WWE Champion. These images were then shared on Twitter and it spread like wildfire, to the point that WWE had to take the links down until the match was over. Now, while that could have been a simple slip-up, WWE also oddly released a Daniel Bryan t-shirt, claiming that he was still the champion at the same time during the match, a t-shirt Alexa Bliss made fun of later in the night with the B-Team and Ron Simmons. Which brings us to the main event of WrestleMania 35, and the finish, which has a lot of people asking if it was a total botch. In the closing moments of the match, Becky Lynch rolled through on a Ronda Rousey Piper's Pit attempt to get her into a pin to get a shock 3 count to win both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships. The finish seemingly came out of nowhere and became even more bizarre when plenty of replays were shown that revealed Ronda's shoulders were up during the pin. While many believe this was done intentionally to create a storyline and intrigue for tonight's Raw, or to protect Rousey in her first pinfall defeat, it's being reported by Tom Colohue from Pro Wrestling Torch that this finish was botched, and the original finish was supposed to see Becky tap out Charlotte Flair to win the championships instead. He writes, "I've been told by different people in different positions within WWE that was the plan. It sure looks like they just botched the main event of WrestleMania." This report was also backed up by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, who tweeted out the finish didn't happen as planned. Rousey wasn't happy after either. Thought the situation made her look bad apparently. Dave Meltzer, however, conflictingly posted on the Wrestling Observer message boards after these reports came out that the main event wasn't a botch and was actually the planned finish, with Brian Alvarez adding the only botch in the main event finish was Ronda's shoulders were supposed to be down. Meltzer added on Wrestling Observer Radio that it was always intended to be Ronda Rousey's final WWE match for the time being, which has only been cemented as he's reporting that Ronda Rousey broke her hand during the match. When asked why Becky didn't submit Ronda Rousey in the main event of WrestleMania to put her over huge, Meltzer said at one point the finish was going to be a submission finish and there were a lot of people for it and a lot of people against it. In the end, they went with the pinfall. There were a lot of arguments that Ronda shouldn't submit because that's fake. She never submitted in judo after a certain level, she never submitted in MMA, and with that, it was decided that Becky should pin Ronda and not submit her. On a lighter note, Ollie, Laurie, and myself all picked Becky Lynch to win the main event of WrestleMania, giving us valuable points as WrestleLeague Season 1 came to an end. Sadly, it wasn't enough for Oliver Davis, who despite being a couple of points ahead of me prior to United We Stand last Thursday, was trailing by 5 points after the G1 Supercard. A sterling comeback saw him come within just 2 points of overtaking me once again during WrestleMania, but Mandy Rose failing to win the Women's Battle Royal and Ricochet and Aleister Black not winning the SmackDown Tag Team Championships means that he loses Season 1 of WrestleLeague, and will therefore be doing a savage music video punishment of Shawn Michaels' Sexy Boy entrance theme. So savage. Thank you for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon pledge hammers who are currently scrolling their way into my stomach. Click the video over there to watch Ollie Davis's full review of WrestleMania, and do us all a favor and subscribe to Screenstalker for the latest movie and video game news. I've been Luke Owen, and that was a very sleepy news episode. I do need some sleep. Going for a sleep now. Good.